It's very possible.
Yeah, I've been mounting all my tires up and getting ready to hit it hard here.
Mm.
I put a
Oh, there
new
we go.
chassis.
Now we're on.
Okay.
Now
All
we're
right,
there.
let me put my headphones on.
Yeah, put your headphones on. There we go.
Your
Now we're on again.
your image quality is not good.
Really?
No, like there's a big delay.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll be better after I put my headphones on.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yep. Nope. Still pixelated.
Hmm. Mine looks good on. I mean, I'm on YouTube right now, and my end looks pretty good.
Maybe it's me.
So, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Did you see my? Did you see the shirt my sister got me? This is supposed to be my Christmas present. It finally showed up.
Yeah. No, it's pretty sweet.
It's comfy. It's a comfy sweater.
Yeah.
I can't wear it to work though. I'm kind of bummed out about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, because I got to wear the Hobbyplex sweater when I'm at work.
Yeah. Wish I had one of those.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. So I got this week. So last week was all Techno series, just everything, working on the track, making sure we had, as many tires as I could find, ordered, all that stuff, parts and all that. This week is kind of a free week for me. I don't have a whole lot to do. I am going to be working on some stuff on like a gray color.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, I want a black one.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. We'll see. We'll see what else I can get.
Okay.
But yeah, so there it is. So man, what'd you do this week? Obviously no RC car racing yet.
No. Saturday we went to Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Up here?
Yeah.
Oh. What'd you buy?
But we didn't buy anything.
Oh.
We were gonna get a sound bar that my wife wanted to do more research before we bought one.
Oh.
So, which is fine.
A sound bar,
She's
like
the one that wanted it.
Like for the TV or something?
I don't care about any of that stuff.
Like for your TV?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like a surround sound
Yeah.
thing. I don't know. I don't know a lot about it.
Oh.
She said she wanted it. I was like, get it. I don't care.
Yeah.
What else did I do? I didn't really do a whole lot this weekend or this week. Just pretty much worked all week.
Well, are you ready for next week then? Saturday? Yeah. I think the track's going to be good. Mm. So, do you know the difference between MIP and mod? Because it's Olson, right? Matt Olson, and it's from what I understand, he doesn't work for MIP anymore. But it's like it looks very similar. Oh, okay, okay. Oof. Right. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on pucks. I never used them. Interesting. The YouTubers aren't hearing you. There's your audio went away. I didn't want to interrupt you. You were explaining a lot. Yeah. But I think no matter what though, I think it shows up on the podcast either way. No, I didn't. It's weird though, because the audio on YouTube is delayed. I just listened to it on my own thing. I don't know. This thing's starting to, like, the last 3 weeks. It's not Weberi's fault. It's something with YouTube and the communication with OBS that's been there. So I don't know. Oh well. I don't know. I'm in the booth. They're trying stuff. I can see it on the thing. We have this really cool new studio though, because there's 3 cameras that they could switch to if they wanted to. And then they got me from like, you can see my fat rolls a little bit right here, which is, whatever. I was pretty impressed during the track build. I lost like 6 pounds, but then I gained it back. I'm going in for a doctor's appointment next Monday, my annual physical. Yeah, she's basically gonna. I know she's gonna tell me like, well, you're the same weight you were last time, and that'll be that. Yep, work on that. If it was nice out all year round, I'd be riding my bike all the time. But I hate being cold, so I'm not gonna ride my bike in the cold. I just don't feel like doing it. No, I'm too busy. Just got so much stuff to do all the time. Today we had a lot of well, it's my day off of work, but I still had a lot of the J Concepts race stuff to do. Right when I woke up, I was getting messaged and emailed and stuff like that about, can you get in? Can you jump the wait list? And I'm like, no, sorry. How long is the wait list? I did get a couple cancellations this weekend, so I was able to pick some off the wait list. So it's probably going to happen at least a little bit, Yeah.
Will happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, talk for me, will you?
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
For you, will I?
We got the mic back on. I saw it on OBS.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. I can see it.
Okay.
On the screen. Yay.
What was it? Me?
I don't know. No, it's not. It wasn't you. It was some setting or something. All right, I'm gonna start us. You ready?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, me too. Okay. Well, let me clear my throat. Hey guys, this is Alex Sturgeon with the Hobbytown Hobbyplex, and with me as always,
Will Brinton.
And we're here for the Hobbyplex Show podcast, sponsored by Pivot Lending Group. And as always, you can find them at pivotlending.com. If you get yourself a refinance or home loan, something cool like that, and you mention our show, you can get a $500 lender credit towards your closing cost or 0.125 off your rate. And I almost thought about getting my wife to talk to them because she really likes refinancing our house. And if rates are low enough, I mean, I don't know, we'd probably save a whole bunch of money that way. I think she's refinanced her house 3 times since we purchased it in 2007.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right. So, Oddly enough, though, it seems like the payment never changes. It's always been the same.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that means.
Me neither.
Dude.
I don't know a lot about finances and stuff.
Yeah.
The National Bank of Aaron handles all that. So.
Exactly. I married somebody who's way smarter at money than I am. So.
Yeah, I'm like the worst. I'm like, if I buy all this stuff, I'll have $50 till next month. I think I can live on that.
Yeah, exactly. Tell everybody what you're doing with your 4-wheel drive buggy. I found that interesting. Real quick, we lost your audio right in the middle of it.
Oh, well, I actually just opened it, but I got a mod puck system for my my B70 4.1, and I'm gonna run it in modified, but I just wanted to try it. Like, I've never run a puck system before,
right?
And I've been trying to get my car like as light as possible, and just for the heck of it, I think that in my experiences, a lighter 4-wheel drive usually handles better. So I'm just trying to get my car as light as I can.
Yeah.
And but I'm kind of because I'm running a thin battery, and I'm wondering if like once I get it all in here in the way I want it, I'm going to try a 7.5 in 4-wheel. So my thought is if my car's lighter, it may be just as fast as my car was at the 6.5,
right?
And I could get a longer run time.
Oh,
so I don't have to worry about battery dump or anything like that.
Right.
It's just an idea. I don't know.
Yeah,
might not work. Might be stupid. Who knows?
Well,
but I guess the MIP puck system, or not MIP. I keep saying MIP.
Yeah,
but it's mod.
Right.
I guess the mod puck system will handle up to a 5.5 on dirt with slicks. So,
well, there you go.
As long as you run a center differential, like it's explicit. Puck system reduces rotating mass, center gear diff compatible only. So I guess you couldn't use this with a slipper.
No.
It'd probably just be too much direct power.
Yeah, I can see that. Huh. Well, what? Boy, there's a lot to talk about, isn't there?
Yeah.
We missed. What went on this weekend? So we had the CRCRC race, where once again Tom Rennernecht went and did really well, and then Seth Van Dalen did really well too in 4-wheel drive mod. I actually didn't see where he was at in 2-wheel, but so I consider those two local to us. So of course they did really well. Of course,
yeah.
Rennernecht podiumed in 4-wheel. And didn't he TQ?
Yeah, he TQ'd 4-wheel drive.
That's crazy. Not crazy. I mean, it's not as in like unsurprising, but just like crazy good.
It's weird to think about. You know, that was the kid like 6 years ago, maybe longer, that we were beating on a regular basis.
Yeah.
He just keeps getting better.
Yeah. And of course, we had our Techno series, which we'll get into that a little bit later. And then there were some sponsorship announcements too that I thought were really interesting. Is it Spencer Eckert that went to S-Works?
Yeah.
And then Chamberlain, I just saw it today. Schumacher.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I forgot about it.
Yeah. So that kind of puts an end mark on silly season, right? Weren't those like the two remaining? What are they going to do's?
Yeah, at this point, I mean, it's kind of obvious that Mayfield's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I thought that something big was happening with Yokomo, but
yeah, there hasn't really been anything talking about that. Yeah, we haven't really talked. There hasn't been much talk about it or anything on the web, really.
Yeah, so it just seems like a lot of people just left Yokomo.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Anyway.
But one person that's still running their stuff that was at CRCRC was God dang it. He was, I think he won 40 over.
Oh, Brian Dunbar?
Brian Dunbar.
Dude.
Yeah. I was like, hell yeah.
That's crazy. I saw a picture of him. So J Concepts had a picture of him as TQ. And I don't know. The last time that I saw a picture of Brian Dunbar, he was probably in his 20s, and he had like slicked, frosted hair,
Yeah.
So I saw that picture and I was like, oh, that's Brian Dunbar? Oh. Same paint scheme, though. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
I was pretty happy to see him do well.
I actually ripped off his paint scheme back in the day on my I basically he had this checkered flag pattern, complete ripped it off and just put my colors in there back in the old double X days.
Yeah.
But back then my colors were purple, red, and silver with the checkered flag. So it kind of, I don't know, kind of changed over time. But back then I just basically I grabbed that magazine. I went up to Matt, my friend Matt, and I was like, hey, can you just do this except these colors? So
yeah.
that was that. So yeah, the CRC race, they had a packed house there, just like we're gonna have. It was like 300 and something entries, and kind of the usual suspects. I finished in mod, kind of where you thought they would.
Yeah.
You know,
I thought Cavalieri was going to do a little better, but
yeah, but it's his first time officially racing. No, it was probably not his first time racing those cars, but at a big race it is, right?
Well, he'd been running the 2-wheel drive when he was with S-Works, so
right, yeah.
I mean, not to say he did bad. I thought I guess you're kind of seeing who's that other kid.
I'm bringing up the results.
I'm like the worst with names today.
Yeah, I always lose it at the podcast. I stare and drift off and think about other stuff, and then I feel really stupid. Where is this at? There's Mod 2-wheel. Mod 2-wheel was Spencer Rivkin, Drayton Staub.
Drayton Staub, that's what I was thinking of.
Dakota.
So that kid, he's doing really well, and it's almost like these younger kids are getting better.
Yeah,
and they can actually race with these guys.
You know what I like about Drayton though? He doesn't want to be a pro driver. Yeah, he just races because he likes doing it. And like he specifically said, no, I don't want to do the travel circuit and get paid for that. I think he's going to college, so I think this is just like one of the races that he goes to. Yeah. So
I like Drayton. I like his dad. They're good people.
When he does as well as he's done here, I'm always like, man, yeah, he's got that natural talent, you know, for this stuff. Yeah. Speaking of natural talent, Dakota Fenn finished third. Then it was Colt Hollard, Aiden Horn, Tom Rinderneck, Blake Champlin, Ryan Cavalieri, Seth Van Dalen made the A, finished ninth. Austin Wick, and then Dustin Evans finished 11th. It almost looks like they took a bump, didn't they? Yeah. Just like
INS.
Yeah, just like INS will. Exactly.
Yeah. So. It's nice that they bump that 11th car, so like if the top 10 are locked in, like it's not like 8 plus 2. Yeah, I really like that.
It especially works on a bigger track like ours. Ours, it's not going to be a problem. CRC, it's not going to be a problem. Smaller tracks that could get a little hairy.
Yeah, right.
Where's four-wheel drive? There it is right there. Four-wheel drive mod had Dakota Fend taking the win. Spencer was second. Tom Rinderneck got his third. And then it was Cavalieri, Horn, Tollard, Drayton, Dustin Evans, Tyler Wett, Seth Van Dalen, and Matt Klein. So pretty good Midwest group with a couple Callies thrown in there. Kind of what you see at that race every year. Yeah. I'm just curious here before we move on about stock, because I kind of thought I saw and then I kind of didn't. So you had Matthew Gonzalez, AJ Marasco, Doug Laraviev. Hope I got that name right. Brandon Marsh, Brendan Schimmel, Cal Goff, Cameron Ayers, Aiden Thies, Austin Weiland, Charlie Cavalier, and Brian Dunbar. That's pretty cool. And I want to go down here, scroll down, and see the total entries so I get it right. I think it was 300 and something. Yep. Whoa, 355, 150 drivers.
Woo. A lot of people.
Yeah. So we're at 141 drivers with our race, because that's where we got to cut it off at for pit space reasons. And right now we're at 303, I think.
Yeah.
And I know there's going to be a few people that'll add classes when they get here. So I'm guessing we'll be at like 320 or so, something like that. What else happened this week? Anything interesting that you know of? Any new announcements on anything? It's been kind of a dead week, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I can't really think. Not much comes to mind.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything new at the store. Kind of unprepared for this podcast, to be honest. So full disclosure, Mondays are my day off usually, right? Unless I'm working on the track. And so we had all the work I had to do last week to the track, then the regular work in the store that I do on Wednesday and Thursday, just, regular hours. And then Friday was practice day, and then Saturday was this big race, and we're going to get to it here in a minute. And then yesterday, I actually had to work Sunday. Normally, sometimes I have Sunday off after the Techno series, but not yesterday. So I had to work. So today was like my first day off in a good week and a half. And normally I sleep till like 2 o'clock. But that didn't happen. I woke up at like 10:30. But a lot of it was because I had all this stuff I had to do with the INS race, getting it ready. I had to answer a bunch of emails and all that other stuff. So here I am, kind of not necessarily. I knew what I wanted to talk about a little bit. Obviously, the Techno series is a big part of it. But we probably need to talk about the INS stuff a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so.
So it's today's Monday. Is it the 11th? So next Monday at 5 p.m., if you haven't paid your entries for the INS 11 at the Hobbyplex, you're going to get booted from the race. So if you're listening and you're signed up but you haven't paid yet, it's extremely important that you get that done if you're going to race. And if you're not going to race, don't go into RC sign up and eliminate your name. You have to just contact me, because I have a wait list that I got to fill in those spots in. Although I did shut off the track, like I officially shut off the race, so nobody would be able to go in and enter anyways. But if you don't tell me, then I don't know. Then I can't fill anybody in from the wait list. So you're just helping your fellow racer out, which most of the time RC people seem to want to do. So there's that. Awards have been purchased. I spent almost $1,600 of the store's money on on awards. So, first through 10th in every class, we'll get a plaque. Unless the problem is, here's the problem. Right now, there's more signed up in SCT than when I ordered trophies. So right now, there's just a first through 9th. I think. So I have to make a 10th position. So I kind of feel bad a little bit.
Yeah, you'll get something nice.
Yeah. But anyways, so those have been ordered. And then I've been going back and forth with J Concepts about not just tires, independent tires, but also like tires to sell, because everybody's out of tires. So I wanted to make sure that we had tires in stock. Yeah.
I don't know. I hope this the forecast continues, because it's supposed to be like mid 40s, like all this week and next week, to my knowledge.
I know.
And if it continues, I mean, track's gonna be really good.
Yeah. If it's say 30 or above, the track will be great and it'll be comfy in there. If it's 0, if it's like -5 out, which it hasn't really been in a long time. It hasn't really been that cold in a long time this time of year.
Yeah.
But I'm actually not supposed to talk about how any sort of temperature at our place.
What? Oh, really?
Yeah. It's true.
Okay.
So, if the weather is nice out it'll be nice. And if it's not nice out, it'll still be nice. Either way.
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's see. Trophies have been ordered, and then we want to talk about getting signed up and paid, or getting paid if you're signed up. The wait list, I have knocked about 5 names off the wait list so far. There's about 30 something names on the wait list, so you know, it's gonna be what it is. I don't know if all those names are gonna be able to get in, because I'm looking at the people that are left, and the ones that I know for sure. I'm not worried about them getting paid, you know, by next week. But there's a couple names where I'll be like, you know, there's a couple that always sign up for these things and never actually show up.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then the schedule, we should probably talk about that too. I've been asked if there's Thursday practice, and there is. It's from 4 to 9 on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why it's not all day is I didn't want to force people to think that they had to take another day off of work, you know, to get there on Wednesday even, so that they could be here bright and early on Thursday morning. I wanted to have maybe Thursday be a travel day, you know?
Yeah.
And plus it gives me just that little extra time to finish anything off on the track if I need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And a long time ago, we used to do a club race on Thursday.
Yeah.
But that sucked.
Yeah, it did.
It turned the week into much longer of a week, and then I'd get home super late, and then I'd be super tired on Friday. And then there's all that stuff that you got to do on Friday, and then I don't know, it just turned into a thing. It's just better to have practice.
Yeah, I just keep it practice.
Yeah. And then doors open at 10 a.m. on Friday, and we're going to have some sort of structured, controlled practice for Friday. And then there will be a seeding round. I believe I have it listed at 7 on Friday night. And you don't have to make seeding to make the race. Obviously, if you can't get there until Saturday, you'll just be in the first heat of whatever class you're in. So that gets that freaks people out sometimes. I've done that with the carpet crash in just for something I added to do to kind of help the heats get set up. And every year there's always somebody who's like, well, I'm not even going to go then if I can't make seating. And I'm like, dude, why are you even worried about it?
Right.
You know, seating's it's just a fun thing to do, and it kind of helps measure out the heats a little bit, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I like it because it kind of puts you in the heat with the people that you're going to be racing with.
More than likely.
You know, or like be at the same speed as.
Yeah.
Because like I remember one year, Hartson it was before we started doing this, and Hartson is in a heat with a bunch of drivers that weren't on his level.
Yeah.
And we had like that chicane thing like in front of the scoring booth, and somebody in front of him clipped it, and then he ran into him. And it was like the next year we had seating. Yeah. But I think that it just it helps you get cleaner runs in.
Oh yeah.
Your first round. So
the other thing that it helps too from a race director standpoint is if I do need to fix some transponders and stuff, that's when you get to do it. That's when you can do it. And it doesn't, we're only doing 3-minute runs. So if you take an extra minute to glide somebody's transponder across the track, it's not going to kill the program. Where on Saturday, if you had to wait for a couple people every single heat for 33 heats, oof, that first round drags on. So it's nice to do that. So yeah. And then it does kind of gives a gauge, I guess, for the weekend usually. Somebody could have a really good seeding round and then just blow out, though. I've seen that too. Yeah.
Seeding's not everything.
No, not at all.
Like if you seed it for somebody like me to seed in the B main is probably pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. A main would be pretty rocking though too.
No, it would be. You know what I mean.
Puts a lot more stress on you though, doesn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Like when you want to be, wouldn't you rather be the one moving people out of the way than getting, Spencer Rivkin to come by you twice in a race sometimes?
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
I'm not saying that would happen with you either. I'm just saying for me, it definitely would. If I seated high, I'd be like, damn it, I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be in that heat.
I never seed well though. I'm always the worst seeder.
Yeah.
My plants would never grow if I was seeding something.
I remember I was so excited at the Reedy race. Was it the one that we went to? Where I was seated. I wasn't seated high, but in the laps and times, I was first. Remember that? Was that the year you and I went, or was it the year previous to that?
Probably the year previous to that.
Dude, so in seating, it was the second year I went. The first year at OCRC, in the seating round itself, I seated like in the C main somewhere for my fast 3. But my actual like laps and times, because I actually went out there and just basically just ran a qualifier. I didn't stop or pull over or anything like that, to try to get the best track. My name was at the very top of the sort list as far as laps and times went for a little while. It was pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wanted to get a picture of it and show
there.
people. Yeah, I wanted to get a picture of it and show people and be like, haha, check out where I'm at. But it wouldn't have been true because it wasn't legit.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. We got 21 people watching right now. That's pretty cool. One of my son's friends found this stream and saw Emerson on one of the after hour shows. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Let's see. There's Peter Renault's back on here. He's got a question for you. We're going to get to that at the end. That's a question for you. It's actually for you. Mad Thunder's back on here. RC Unex Tuesday? Like RC maybe Unexpected Tuesday? I don't know. That's pretty cool. He's from the UK, Great Britain. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
We've had a few viewers from overseas and listeners too on the podcast.
Yeah.
We get the analytics and there's still that one. There's one listener from Brazil that pops up on the analytics.
That's awesome.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Thanks, person from Brazil.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to talk about the Techno series? I know you weren't there, but man, what a day! What a couple days. So, hang on a second, because this is going to get warm, and then I'm going to be upset that it's warm. We're gonna. This is only my second one today too. I'm really proud of myself.
Oh wow!
I was tempted to stop by the gas station and chug one on my way here, and then have one available, but this is this is sat in my refrigerator, so it's nice.
You gotta taper off that stuff. You can't just quit cold turkey.
Yep. That's my plan. It's I'm going to try to limit myself back to 2 for a while instead of 4 or 3 or 6.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so Graham Hill and Christy Lynn fed me all weekend. So I got
Really?
Yeah, they gave me they bought me Raisin Canes for dinner, and they got me Jimmy John's for lunch. And then they brought me 2 Kickstarts in the morning.
Aw, they're the best.
Yeah, they're those guys from Colorado.
Yeah. Well, I know them. They're cool.
And I'm planning on doing the Cheyenne shootout this year for sure.
Nice.
So Emerson and I are gonna have nitro cars. We're gonna go try to tear it up out there.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really good.
Are you both gonna race nitro buggy?
So they don't have a 40 plus class. So the plan is for him to race buggy and for me to race truggy, maybe something like that. Because I don't want to be.
You're gonna race truggy.
I don't want to be in the same class as him. If I'm in the same class as him, then if we end up in the same main, then what?
Yeah.
So.
Somebody will pit for you.
Yeah, he's got a pit for me, and I got a pit for him. So.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. Well, so Techno Series round 3. So last year's round 3 was the first week of January, and we had a record. We had like 201 entries, which blew my mind because last year there was only 6 classes, so you had 200 entries with only 6 classes, and then this year we hit 209 entries. So we broke our own record in January again with 7 classes. So that's still not, I mean, that's not as many classes. I mean, we're having, there's 10 classes at the J Concepts race.
Right.
I knew that was going to happen though, because we didn't have to orchestrate an online sign up thing for this one because Nebraska's fallen under their limits. So we could be at 75% capacity for gatherings. And we didn't have to separate the pit tables anymore, So I kind of had a feeling that the dam was going to burst on this one.
Yeah.
So we had 115 drivers, 115 people. And
a lot of trucking and buggying going on.
Yeah. We had what were the numbers if I remember correctly? So there was like 40 Sportsman electric, 40 almost 50 expert electric. And then there was almost 40 expert nitro, and then there was like 3 heats of Sportsman nitro. And there was 27, I do remember that number, 27 mini truggies.
Wow.
Thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mini truggies are fun, dude.
I want one.
They're just like electric truggy except smaller. So and probably I would say the Techno truck is pretty tough, but I would also say they're not as tough as an 8-scale electric truggy. So you can't be as stupid with them as many are with their electric truggies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. Oh man. So we had how many heats did we have? 22 heats during the day. It took just over 3 hours around. We were doing like 3 hours and like 5 minutes or something like that. I mean, it was really close to where it should have been.
That's pretty good time.
Yeah. And we started the mains just after 5:40. No, just after 5:30. I was shooting for 5:30, and we started them just at tick after that, and just trucked our way through them. And we finished the Expert Electric A main, our last race of the day. We finished at 11:56 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a long day.
This is a long day. I was like 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be there at 7. I think open up the doors at 7:10.
But that's an even longer day.
Yeah.
Is if you made both A mains.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
That the last year I raced 8 scale, that was always like a long wait.
Well,
you made the main.
When I used to race 8 scale a lot, that was always a thing. You'd qualify, Saturday would be pretty busy, but if you made the A main, you basically just sat around and did nothing. Until your main was up, or I don't even think back then they had a whole lot of A main practice, even back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays A main practice is kind of a thing. You try to do it right after like the C mains or right after the B mains, something like that. But back then, so there was one race at Pleasant Hill, Missouri. So I used to do when I first started racing 8 scale nitro. It was after I had gone to a couple big nitro races like the Mugen Challenge and stuff that were always held at Pleasant Hill down there. And I would go and I'd only race gas truck. And the second one of those that I went to, and I walked away with my Triple X NT basically in half because the jumps were so big and gnarly.
Yeah.
Like, it occurred to me that maybe I should try to get an 8 scale. But I really couldn't afford it back then because I wasn't working at Hobbytown. I was working at Baker's, and Gretchen and I were just trying to get a house and all that stuff. So after talking with Sonny Brown, he's like, well, why don't you drive our stuff? And so I got a Sportworks car, and I started going to these nitro races and qualifying really well with a Sportworks car and not finishing races. But one of those times down there at Pleasant Hill, I qualified like 4th right? And it was the last main of the day, so I had to wait all day. So you got there in the morning, and I didn't even have to get there in the morning, but the person I traveled with was racing early, so I had to go.
Who was that?
Matt Howard.
Okay.
I think Matt and Howard were there together on that one, and a whole bunch of other guys from Omaha went. It was a really fun time, but I had a raging headache by midday. Like my head hurt so bad, and I ended up. I think that was the race where I met Bob Ingersoll too. He's Roar's administrator now, but he used to be like Roar's main RMT race director tech guy. And he's like really like straight shooter. He's just like, nope, you're illegal, or yep, you're legal. There's never any gray area with him. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so I'm sitting there and I got this raging headache, and this dude that used to race with us, John, I can't remember his last name now, but he was this just enormous behemoth of a man. And his wife's like, well, do you want one of John's meds? Because he used to have all this back pain. And I was like, I don't know, do I? And she's like, well, I mean, it'll clear your head up. And she told me the milligrams, and it was for this huge, enormous behemoth man. So I don't know, it must have been pretty high, but it was a Percocet. So Matt took me to McDonald's, and I went in the bathroom, and I took it with some water. And then I remember walking out of the bathroom and getting in the car. And by the time we had gone from McDonald's to the track, which was like 10 minutes, I was like, I don't think my head hurts anymore.
Yeah.
And so then I had to sit there and just wait for another, 3 or 4 hours for this race to come on. But I'm not saying that people should do that, but I am saying that happened, and wow, that was a good time after that. It was great. So, anyways, what was I going on to say? Oh, yeah. And I broke in that one, too. I always broke. But anyways, yeah, sitting there, the point is, sitting there sucks.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not feeling well.
Mm.
There was a E main in Expert Nitro and an F main in Sportsman Electric. Those were the two biggest classes of the day. So, we'll just look at the results real fast and give you guys a rundown. So where's this at? So Sportsman. So, okay. And as we know, I know I've talked about this before, but so I've had these like weird anxiety things happen every once in a while. And about 3 or 4 years ago, we found this formula for the race lineup for the mains when we introduced Sportsman Nitro, and now we have Sportsman Electric, but especially Sportsman Nitro. For a while, we only had Sportsman Nitro. But it was a way to make sure that, A, you had a class for regular Joes. We used to call it independent. Now I just call it Sportsman like everybody else. But also, now you have Sportsman. They're there to marshal for expert. So I knocked these two buggy mains out of the way. Just get them done, because as soon as the gong happens for Expert Nitro, after that 30-minute main, like my stress level goes from way up here to way down here.
Yeah.
Because I know that I've gotten those two races in that matter the most to people, I think, most of the time. They're in and they're done, and now we can move on. And it's almost like just turning the corner at the end of the night. It's just something about it, So we had I'm gonna kill the last name again. Brody Ignachowski was your TQ and winner in this one. So we had Lucas Baker take a TQ and win in round 1. I think Philip Hoke got a TQ and win in round 2, and Brody's now got a TQ and win here in round 3. And then Lucas Baker got a second. John Kinzer got his stuff together and finished 3rd. Tim Crystal finished 4th. Parker Clemmy barely made the A main and made the most of it, finishing 5th. Jake Wilkening was 6th. Mark Dunn was 7th. Josh Shout was 8th. Devin Wright was 9th. And John Davies didn't start. Something gave way on his car. He made the bump, and then his car quit on him in warm-up. You could hear it. So probably driveline, I'm guessing.
No, yeah, that's always a bummer.
Yeah.
Drivetrain problems are always the worst because they're the hardest to fix.
Yeah,
quick.
you can't. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, if you're broke, you're broke with that. I mean, if you do like a, ball cup or something, which on 8 scale you don't even see that much because they're so beefy.
Yeah. Well, I've even broken an arm in warm up in nitro before, and ran in and changed it and ran back out there.
Yep. So then that led us right into expert, and boy, I don't know what else to say about this other than Mason was he was in full it's like serial killer mode. Like there was just no stopping him.
Mm-hmm.
Just his focus and everything just seemed to be on point. He kept busting out fast laps, and boy, that was that. He won by a lap, so it doesn't happen a lot when Wiggins and Tebow were there.
Mm-hmm.
But it did happen Saturday. So Mason Fuller with a TQ and a win. Jared Tebow qualified 4th, finished 2nd. Jared Wiggins qualified 3rd, finished 3rd. He finished a couple laps behind Jared. And then Ashton Abdul, who qualified 2nd, ended up finishing 4th. He was on the same lap as Jared Wiggins. So I didn't take video of this one. I'm going to post the Sportsman A main up next sometime later tonight probably. I've taken video of the Pro A main twice now, and I felt like maybe I need to get the Sportsman guys some love, so their video is going to be up later.
Sure.
But what happened in this one was Ashton and his new TLR ride, his first race at his first Techno race with the TLR sponsorship. He qualified 2nd, and he held his ground to these guys up until about the first pit stop.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, everything got kind of discombobulated except for Mason just ripping off fast lap after fast lap. Graham Hill finished 5th. Greg Baumel finished 6th. Bradley Peterson had a really good qualifying effort, finished 5th. Did finish the main in 7th. Mitchell Pavel got the bump, finished 8th. Jeremy Whiting finished 9th, and Chris Morant finished 10th. I think his car broke somewhere right around the halfway mark. So kind of the usual suspects in there. Bradley Peterson, this might be his first A main appearance.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I think so. That is pretty cool. But you had just to show how regional this race is. You had Des Moines, Kansas City area, Illinois, Omaha, Colorado, Wisconsin, Des Moines, Omaha, Wisconsin, and Kansas City area. So you had this big mishmash of different regions or different states. Yeah. So that was pretty dialed. That was a good one. Mini Truggy. I TQ'd and won this one. And I love my Mini Truggy.
Yeah.
And I say this about every car that I'm doing really well with, but if my truck was a person, I'd probably make out with it if it was a girl. Maybe even if it was a dude. Because it's such a fun, good truck to run. Like Mini Truggy is so fun. I can't get over how fun it is. It's just fun.
I wish I had one.
I'm running a 5.5 with mine with timing in the ESC. It's freaking fast. It's super fun. Zach Van Dalen qualified 2nd, finished 2nd. James Ham qualified 9th, got the bump and finished 3rd. Sean Van Dalen finished 4th. Kalle Herka finished 5th. Bryson Pavel, another bumper, finished 6th. Kyle Quast was 7th. Nick Poppenfuss was 8th. And Drew Dawkin was 9th. And Dane Gangler, I think he broke out. So finished 10th. I think he was pretty frustrated with his truck. He broke his drivetrain like a ring and pinion gear in practice on Friday.
That's tough.
Yeah, that was pretty tough. He was running like a 4.5 in his truck for a little while too.
Drag racing motor.
Yeah, no kidding. Dude, I did a 22.8 fast lap. in Truggy.
That's pretty cool.
And a fast lap for e-buggy and for nitro buggy, I think was a 21.7 from Mason. So my truck was really good.
Yeah,
it was really super fun. I think I actually crashed in the last lap too. I missed the tabletop and hit this pipe. And when I hit the pipe, I was like, "Oh no, I broke my truck," but it was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because that's usually what happens with me is I'll be doing awesome and then something stupid will happen. Then we had Pro 4. We only had one heat, 11 trucks. Easton McCormick and Ashley McCormick flipped places. So Ashley TQ'd, but Easton finished first and Ashley finished second. And I was actually marshalling for this race, and it was pretty fun to watch them.
Yeah.
Rob Turner, who hasn't raced in like almost a year.
Yeah, I saw him post.
Yeah. He finished third.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Kyle Quast finished fourth. Larry Wright, the third, was fifth. Jerry Klingbeil was sixth. Steve Wall was seventh. Tyler Fleming was eighth. Jen Schroff was ninth. And Nick Poppenfuss was 10th. And here's the thing. I've been mispronouncing Schroff since I've met them. Jen and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Sroof. And nobody told me anything until Saturday, where it's Schroff.
They must get it all the time.
Probably. But now I felt bad because I was like, really? I've known you guys for like 10 years. Why don't these people tell me this stuff?
Yeah. People people mispronounce my last name a lot.
How do you mispronounce Brinton?
I don't know. Like, they'll say Brighton, but I could see that. Or, like, you'll tell them your last name and they spell it wrong. They'll spell it like TTEN or ON, TTON.
Yeah. Sturgeon's a tough one for people to spell if they don't know how to spell the fish.
Yeah.
I usually get STERGON or EN. It's sometimes it's kind of and then I'll say surgeon, just surgeon with a T, and then they go, "Oh, surgeon, okay," and then they seem to get it.
Yeah.
But even then, like, I don't know.
I'm the worst speller I know, so.
So Nitro Truggy, this was a 30-minute our other 30-minute main. Zach Van Dalen, qualified third, finished first. Greg Baumel, TQ'd, finished second. Jeremy Whiting finished third. These three have basically owned the Truggy class for almost going on 2 years now. In one place or the other. It's pretty much been these three. Emerson was thrown in there. Sean Van Dalen had a couple podiums last year, but for the most part, it's been those three. Trent Ignachewski was fourth. Eric Larson qualified 10th, finished fifth. Braden Billington was sixth. John Ignachewski was seventh. Wade Boyd was eighth. Chris Stapes was ninth, and Patrick Mitrovic was 10th. And then going to Sportsman Electric, Corey Heft qualified eighth, finished first. Corey, do you know who Corey Heft is?
No.
He used to, back in the day, he used to have Hefty cells, batteries.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think to oval people for the most part. Because I'm back when carpet oval was really big at our place.
Yeah.
Bryson Pavel got the TQ, finished second. Troy Jackson was third. John Kinzer was fourth. Dane Gangler was fifth. Jake Wilkenine got the other bump, finished sixth. Brody Ignachewski had a pretty good day, finished seventh. Brian Kiever was eighth. Parker Clemmy was ninth. And Jackson Anderson broke out at about the 2.5 minute mark of this one. I think he broke a wheel, I think is what happened. Otherwise, I think he was going to have a good day.
Yeah.
But I think Jackson needed a good finish here because Philip Hoke wasn't here this weekend. So I think he's still like second. So and then finally, we're going to look at the points here in a minute, but Expert was another crazy one. Mason Fuller was just on it. That's the only way I can explain it. Just he was almost flawless. The the whole week, the whole weekend, the whole day. He got the TQ and a win. Jared Wiggins and Ashton Abdul finished 0.255 seconds apart. And I posted this race on YouTube first, just because it was the easiest of the two to post, because it's only 10 minutes long. But these two were never more than a car length apart for the entire 10 minutes.
That's pretty awesome.
And Ashton didn't do anything aggressive, like super aggressive, to get around Jared.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good close racing without being stupid. You could see that they both had a lot of respect for one another, which is great.
Yeah.
And they just put on a show. I mean, it was 2 8 scales, literally less than a car apart for almost the entire time.
Yeah. Jared will always race you clean.
Mm-hmm.
And so will Ashton. Like if he does bump into your son, he's always the first one to.
He is. He really is.
Apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always been really good about that.
Jared Tebow just didn't look comfortable with his car, and finished 4th. I have a theory about this weekend though too. Is everybody's out of tires, aka J Concepts, Proline, Raw Speed. They're all out of clay compound tires. So I'm not saying there's excuses for these guys, but I am thinking that maybe tires did have a little bit to play with it, because there wasn't a lot of options for new tires for everybody.
Yeah.
Mitchell Pavel was 5th, Shelby Parker was 6th, Conrad Bizey was 7th, Jordan Gleckler was 8th, Graham Hill was 9th, and Jackson Anderson finished 10th. But he did make the Expert A main. He made both mains, Sportsman and Expert. He was, I think, the only one to do that. So, and before anybody says anything, you can run Independent and Expert as long as you don't have any sponsors. I don't really care.
Right.
If you're sponsored, you can only run Expert.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rule. So that's a good way to get track time. If you only have one car, and when we offer both classes and you're not a sponsored driver, go ahead and do it.
I would.
It's more the merrier. All right, let's take a look at points, and then we'll flip over to some questions and stuff here.
Okay.
After we take our pivot break.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where are the points at? Points. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's see. First off is just what's first on my sheet. So here's the cool thing about this year. I'm pretty sure Jared's going to be there in March. So the dumb thing is that I had to, because the J Concepts race is the first week of February, right? And so it's a 10 scale race. So typically our winners have been on the dirt, have been more focused on 8 scale. The track has been 8 scale because of the Techno series, right? Well, now we have this 10 scale race plopped down right in the middle of our season. So that's why we're having 3 upcoming club races on the dirt, and then the J Concepts race. Then after that, I got to kind of, a couple weeks after that, I got to massage the track back to an 8 scale appropriate, thing. But I had to choose dates because I did not want to put round 4 on Valentine's Day weekend. Mm-hmm. That's always a big no-no. Okay. But then I also always tried to keep our February round away from the Dirt Nitro Challenge. So that's why it was always the first weekend of February. Well, now we can't do that. So I had to, and I had to come out with this schedule before I knew when the Dirt Nitro Challenge was. So I had to guess. And it turns out that I guessed wrong. So it's taking place on the same weekend as the Dirt Nitro Challenge, which means that all these pro drivers and semi-pro guys that we have coming to this thing are more than likely going to be in Arizona, or no, I'm sorry, in California for the Dirt Nitro Challenge.
Yeah.
Unless they have to cancel it, which is, I mean, still very, very possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
everything's kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
Well.
So, but talking to everybody, it looks like most of the gang's going to be here in for our March finals, which means that Mason and Jared and Ashton all those guys are going to make 4 out of 5.
Really?
So we have a possibility of having Jared Tebow on our wall on a poster next year.
That'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But he's got to get ahead of Mason Fuller, who right now has a 1-point lead in Expert Electric 8 scale. And the crazy thing is Jared actually has 2 wins. Mason has 1 win and 1 second, but he's got 2 TQs. So those TQ points are, creeping up again.
Those things can be deal breakers. Oh,
right?
Man, those are big deal.
And looking at it right now, Mason's tiebreaker is a 92 and Jared's is a 97. So if Jared can overcome the difference in March and they end up being tied somehow, then the first tiebreaker is always the drop score, and that would right now that would hurt Mason. So, and eBuggy always has that. It's always been that way, except for last year. It's always come down sometimes to a tiebreak. So, Ashton Abdul's about 4 points off of those guys back in third. Then another 4 points back is Mitchell. It's kind of strung out the rest of the way. Mitchell, Graham Hill, Zach Gastelum, who was down in Hutch this weekend. Conrad is 7th. Aiden Olson is 8th. Eric Fletcher is 9th. And Roman Gastelum is 10th. So, and then the battle for 10th, because remember, top 10 get plaques. Easton McCormick is only 1 point away from Roman. And then they got a little bit of lead over Shelby Parker and John Cleese, Jake Kelleherka. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
There are 46 active Expert Electrics racers right now.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. In Mini Truggy, I don't know what the best way to put this is, but I have a big lead, and all I got to do now is just milk it. So I have.
There you go.
I have 3 wins, 1 TQ. And
Yeah, just take care of your stuff.
Yep, just make sure I don't break or have anything dumb happen, and I just got to ride it out. There are 40 different mini truggy racers so far this year.
What?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Isn't that crazy? Zach Van Dalen is 2 points back, with 2 second places. James Ham is 1 point off of Zach in third. Then a little ways back is Sean Van Dalen, last year's winner, in fourth. Bryson Pavel and Ashley McCormick are actually tied for fifth. And McCormick's got the worst tiebreaker. Kyle Quast is 7th, Dane Gangler's 8th, Jake Kelleherka 9th, and Drew Dawkin is 10th. And then Dylan Hartshorn and Nick Poppenfuss are a point back each from Drew for that final 10th spot. But that's pretty cool that there's 40. We've had 40 trucks so far this year, mini truggies. Pro 4 had Ashley McCormick right now leading with 2 firsts and a second. No, I'm sorry. Only 1 first, 2 seconds, but 1 TQ has given him a 2-point lead over his kiddo, Easton McCormick. And then you have Kyle Quast, Nick Poppenfuss, Nick Schultz, Steve Wall, Tyler Fleming. Steve Wall and Tyler Fleming are tied for 6th. Lynn Nielsen, Jen Schroef, and Sean Van Dalen is still 10th, although he's missed 2. So actually he probably, all these guys underneath him will probably get taken out. So right now we have 9 trucks that are in the running for points. And we have had only 16 total trucks this year. So Pro 4 seems kind of on the decline.
Yeah.
It's kind of been, at least around here, it's kind of been the way that short course has gone. Sportsman Electric Buggy has Philip Hoke leading by 1 point over Jackson Anderson. Bryson Pavel is only 1 point back in third. And then a few back is Troy Jackson. A few behind him is Parker Clemmy. Derek Myrtle is only 1 point off of Parker for 5th. Brody Ignachewski is 7th. Dan Gangler's 8th. Josh Shout is 9th, and Nick Poppenfuss is 10th. And then Brian Keever back there in 11th. He's a couple back off of Nick. So this is going to get crazy because Sportsman, there's been 63 different Sportsman electric 8 scales drivers this year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
Could you imagine if all these people showed up at the same race?
It'd be like 350.
It would be bonkers.
Or it'd be like 250 entries, maybe more.
It would be bonkers. I'd almost feel bad. We'd be there until like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Nitro Truggy. So this one's going to get interesting. So we have Greg Baumel, your leader. Zach Van Dalen is tied. They're both at 199. Zach's first throwout, first tiebreaker is the throwout score in which he has a 0, and Greg has 92. So if it were to go to a third tiebreak somehow, like if Greg missed a round, like if Greg didn't show up in February but came in March, and then Zach did come, which he probably won't because of the Dirt Nitro Challenge. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I feel like I need to explain the tie breaks just a little bit, but again, the first tiebreaker at all of our point series is always the throwout score. And then after that, we go to wins or podium finishes, and the higher podium position always cancels out everybody else, the next one. So basically what that would mean is Greg has 2 second-place finishes and a TQ, but Zach has a first and a second. So that first-place finish cancels out the second place, so Zach would win in that instance. So it doesn't really matter how many podiums you have. It's all the highest position always wins. So if one guy's got 2 seconds and 2/3, and the other guy's tied somehow with a bunch of TQs or something and only has one win, that one win still wins. You see what I'm saying? That's the way I've tried to explain it.
Yeah.
Hold on. We got a super chat. Nick Nuthouse dropped to $10.
Nice.
And he said, stopped out to just watch the race. Have to say it was great to watch. Lots of cool cars running. Been looking at used B6 rollers. Any thoughts on what's a good price on a used buggy?
It kind of depends on what you get with it and what version it is. So if it's the latest version and it's a fairly new car, like let's say it's been raced like 5 times, I would say $150 to $200 for just the car. But if you get other stuff with it, you just have to. I always do half a new, like when I would sell anything.
That's what I always do, and I always get told I'm selling it too low.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. See, the thing is it's like, even if somebody has a problem with it and it isn't, my fault or anything, I just don't want them to feel like they got ripped off.
Yeah.
That's always my thing. It's like, well, I wired this backwards, so And
I don't want to be like those online douche canoes that try to sell their Stampede without a radio or battery for basically what you could go into our store and buy a Stampede for new. Like, I don't want to be that guy. So I always do the half deal. I always think, well, I mean, I've ran it. I run stuff pretty hard. I'll get it cleaned up, and I'll replace anything that's needs to be replaced, and I'll sell it for half of what they go for new. That's always a good starting point. Yeah.
I always just do half a new, but if somebody's got like a brand new car, like they built it and decided to get rid of it,
then it definitely goes for higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think 150 to 200 somewhere in there is a reasonable price for roller. Now, if you're getting other stuff with it, then you're talking more. But I think that's a very good place to be. I pretty much always sell mine for 150. And like I said, I was told that it was too low. So last time I put it on eBay, and I think my buggy went for like $225 somehow.
Yeah. So I mean, I that's what I always do, like with my stuff, or for the most part. I mean, it depends. Like you get a brand new car. I mean, it's going to be more expensive. Or
Yep.
I don't sell any of my new stuff, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like if somebody else is selling it.
I usually sell my cars once a year.
Yeah.
Or if I'm pissed off, then I'll sell a car and I'll start over.
Yeah. I pretty much, like my car, I'll just take it apart and replace everything that needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
And I'm so finicky about stuff. I'll just replace everything and
Yeah.
I'll end up with the pile of plastic parts and pretty much just recycle the hardware.
Yep.
I pretty much did that on my 2-wheel, just a few days ago. Like
this is the first Christmas season I haven't sold my current car. I just decided to keep it.
Well, I was setting my camber on my 2-wheel on my setup board, and every time I'd compress the suspension, and I put it on the floor to set the what is it trim. So I was trimming it out, and then the front camber was all screwed up. I put it back on there. I was like, "How is this off?" And I kept doing it, and this is my 4-wheel, but I pushed up on the arm and felt the ball cup. I was like, well, that's loose. That's free. Well, then I pushed up on the tire and it was all bound up. I was like, oh no, I got to change all my ball caps. So I changed all my ball caps and ball studs. But anyway, that's how I get. I just put I put a new chassis, new side rails, new.
Yeah. It's just easier for me to sell my car and build another one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Hopefully that answers your question, though. That's where I would look at.
Yeah.
Even a B61, should be right around that price. Maybe 125 to 175.
Yeah, pretty much if I was selling the 6.1, I would do the $150 and I would take off the parts that you would need to buy to update it.
Yeah, exactly.
So $100 is what I'd sell B6.1 for.
Yeah. So there you go. Thank you for the super chat again. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to this. So hopefully that explains our ties. Usually, the last couple of years, it hasn't come down to the second tiebreaker, but if it does, that's where we're going by now. That's been the rule ever since we had that debacle back 4 years ago now, where the Sportsman Nitro ended up they all had the top two had the same points, so there was no good way to determine the tiebreaker, except for wins, and I didn't have anything thought out about how I would handle that, and so then I just went by what the form said, and I should have done it differently. I should have given the guy I gave second place to first place because he had more wins,
right?
So I don't know. Hopefully it won't come down to that. That'll just make it easier.
Yeah.
Jeremy Whiting is only 1 point behind these guys. So earlier when I said the top three, this same top three that it's been. Minus Sean Van Dalen and Emerson from last year. Robert Rinaldi, he's about 4 points back and fourth. Braden Billington's behind him by a few. Chris Stapes and Trent Ignachewski are sixth and seventh. They're actually tied. It's a 0 for the tiebreaker for Trent, so Chris would win that if it stayed tied. Mitrovic is eighth, and then John Ignachewski is ninth, and Wade Boyd rounds out the top 10. Eric Dillon, Darrell Wallen, and Brad Horst, they're a couple points off back there in 11th, 12th, and 13th place. We've had 31 different truggies so far this year.
Wow.
Expert Nitro Buggy. So Mason Fuller has 201 points right now, and his throwout is a second place. 99. So he's got a strong points total. Jared Tebow is second with 200. He's got a TQ and a win, a TQ and a third, and a second place. So he's just 1 point back. Jared Wiggins right now is third. But I know he's going to Nitro Challenge, so he's going to not be able to be in the points because he'll have missed too many rounds. So the next one below him is Ashton Abdul in fourth. and he would be 6 points off of Jared. So it's kind of down to Mason and Jared unless they both miss the next two somehow.
Right.
Zach Gastelum is 5th. Graham Hill is 6th. Greg Baumel is 7th. Jeremy Whiting 8th. Mitchell Pavel 9th, and Chris Morant is 10th. They're actually tied. Chris has the worst throwout with a 0, and then Zach Van Dalen is at 181. He's about 3 points off of that top 10. And Bradley Peterson shot up a bunch, up to 12th. He just needs to do that again next round. And we've had 50 different expert Nitro guys. And then here we go. Sportsman Nitro Buggy. Lucas Baker and Brody Ignachewski are tied. Lucas's throwout is a 92. Brody's is a 0. They missed the first round, so that would be the tiebreak, which would put Lucas Baker in the lead. And then you have Philip Hoke, only 2 points off of them in 3rd. Parker Clemmy and John Davies are tied about 3 points off of Philip for 4th and 5th. Tim Crystal in 6th. Josh Shout is 7th. Scott Schroff and Jake Wilkening are tied for 8th and 9th. And then Mark Dunn is 10th. He's 1 point ahead of Brad Horsch in 11th. And then they got a pretty big lead over everybody else back there. And then that's the last page. So that's 27 different Sportsman Nitros. And that's your Techno series after round 3. So now the pressure's on me because I have to get not just awards. I have to get all the door prizes and stuff in line.
Yeah.
On time for March. So I'll start making phone calls and emails and start bugging everybody because it seems like every year we gotta prove ourselves again.
Yeah.
You know? So, what do you say? I gotta go pee. So, what do you say we take a pivot lending break, and
sure,
and I'll disappear for a second.
Okay.
All right.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Yeah!
This is a Pivot Lending Update with David Olson and Don Zoller. Get some.
Okay, this is David Olson with Pivot Lending, and I'm here with
Don Zoller,
also with Pivot Lending here in Omaha, and supports our Nebraska operations, Iowa operations. So with the tax law changes, I want to kind of get into writing off interest on your mortgage. I know for years and years and years that was appealing and probably had most folks gravitating towards a home purchase, was picking up the write-off on your Schedule A for the interest. In 2018, that changed to a higher general deduction. You can still write your interest off, but they took away the non-reimbursed business expense piece in the Schedule A. So it's tougher to, as a joint couple, and Stacy, my wife and I fall into this, without the non-reimbursed business expenses, we're better off taking the $24,400 as a joint couple. So we're no longer writing off our mortgage interest. So we're looking for ways to have the highest possible return on investment for somebody that's a homeowner or thinking about home owning. I know just kind of watching the market shift around with rates, 15-year rates being in the 2s now, 26 years, I've never seen this. And I think besides your standard purchase transaction and your standard refinance transaction of just dropping a, potentially 30-year into another 30-year with a lower rate and throwing out the idea of writing off your mortgage interest because you're taking the standard deduction, single is $18,350. Let's talk about a few benefits. So, and Don, I'll let you kind of kick off the possibility of somebody refinancing out of a higher termed note. So let's just say if you're on a 20, 25 year, 27, 30-year mortgage right now, is it possible to get down to that 15 range? And with the same payment, using that 2.75 interest rate.
Well, obviously, like you said, Dave, in the past, the idea was to keep that mortgage so that you have that interest write-off on your taxes, since that's not really applicable anymore for most people with the higher deductions. the idea now is to go ahead and get that mortgage paid off as quickly as possible so that you get to the point where you can retire and not
Right.
have a house payment. Rates are ridiculously low right now. Obviously, if you're in a 30-year, you can a lot of times go to a 15-year right now, pay it off that much faster, and you're looking at pretty close to the same payment as you're paying right now on a 30-year.
Right.
So a lot of people in a 30-year are in the fours or high threes. You can get down in 2.5, 2.625 on a 15-year, and you're not really changing your payment a whole lot, but you're knocking about 15 years off the life of your loans.
And is it safe to say the higher the balance on the mortgage, the more sense it makes to even look at this, just because
Absolutely.
of the interest has such a larger impact? So, for example, if you had a $50,000 mortgage or a $300,000 mortgage, you're going to see a significant advantage on that $300,000 just based on the amount you're paying on a monthly payment on that higher amount.
And if you don't think you can pull off the 15-year, you can drop to a 20 too. The 20 rates are great too. So.
Yeah, totally. So the play is to, for most of us, and not all of us, but most of us are taking the standard deduction now. There's the, single is 18,350 and joint is 24,400 in lieu of the interest write-off. So the idea is to try to get your loan down into that 15-year payoff range. Don can run any type or multiple scenarios for anybody that's listening. No obligation as far as credit pulls or application. Just give Don a call.
My phone number is 402-715-9082.
Those out there wanting to pay their mortgage off a little bit quicker, make sure you give Don a call, y'all.
David Olson, NMLS 16099. Don Zoller, NMLS 277589. Pivot Lending, NMLS 109995.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Y'all. Aiden and his dad are very much alike.
Yeah, y'all.
As just like my son and I are very much alike in many ways. Dude, my son's turning into a pretty good skateboarder.
Yeah, he's gonna go pro.
I mean, if he would put as much effort into RC car racing as he'd put into skateboarding last year, he probably would be pretty good right now.
Yeah. If he gets sponsored by Vans, he needs to buy me a pair of Vans.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. It makes me excited that I've always thought, like, my mom always let me, I guess, find my own passion. I mean, I bounced around from a lot of stuff. I went from like gymnastics, karate, judo, piano, saxophone. God, there was more stuff in there too that I did, but a lot of it had its reasons. But eventually, RC cars was the one thing that always stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And so for Emerson, he sticks with stuff more than I did. When I was his age, I bounced around from a lot of different activities until RC cars. Whereas, he stuck with karate for 7 years, maybe more longer than that, to get his black belt.
Really?
Yeah, and he's sticking with drums. He's been doing that since he was like 7. And now he's got the skateboarding thing that he's been working on. Like last winter, he just would close the garage door. He had a heater he would take out while I was at work, and he had set up his own little half pipe in our garage and just practice.
Yeah.
I mean, he was meticulous about it. So I don't know. It's interesting. You want to know why I was into gymnastics?
Some girl?
No. And karate. Actually, I wanted to be a ninja.
Yeah.
And I thought my plan was to take gymnastics so that I could learn how to do flips and stuff. And then I would take karate so that I could learn how to kick and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was the plan. And gymnastics got too, I don't know. We weren't doing any cool stuff in gymnastics, I remember.
You're
so
like,
I
it
quit.
just got too hard.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for you to say. It just got too hard.
Yeah.
I quit. It was too hard. It wasn't good right away. So
I was fat. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Too top heavy.
They're like, so what are your goals on gymnastics? And they're like, and you're like, I want to be able to do like backflips and ninja stuff. And they're like, okay, so you're never going to be able to do that, but you can like do the, you can balance on this beam.
I think I remember it was at oh gosh, it was at that place downtown where they do concerts now. Sokol Hall is where would do this gymnastic stuff at. And my dad would sit in the balcony and watch. And I remember one time we were doing this like race where it was like a obstacle course type race. And I didn't take losing very well back then when I was like 5 through now. but back then I definitely didn't take losing very well. So I remember losing the race, and then like I think I ended up like choking the kid who won. And I think my dad like was probably so embarrassed. I think that's why we stopped doing gymnastics. But
oh, that was it. Never again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. I told one of my kids one of my friends in high school that I hated him to his core. Before I actually knew him, we were in Boy Scouts, and you know how you used to make those little boats, and you had and then they set up these gutters, and you had to blow on them, so it was the regatta or whatever it was. And I was actually winning. I was really good at that, and then I lost to this kid, and I think I remember going up to him, going, "I hate you." like 10 years later, we're like really good friends in high school, and he's like, "Hey, do you remember when you told me you hated me?" I was like, "What?" "Yeah, we were at Boy Scouts," and I'm like, "Oh, that was you?"
You're like, "Yes, I never forgot."
Dude, okay, did you see my before we get to questions, did you see my my change?
Yeah, I did.
I got my Randy shirt.
Looking good.
Yeah. You know what's really funny?
Amazingly Randy.
Yeah. The sweater that my sister got for me has left little fuzzies all over my shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great.
And nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. All right, questions. Let's go through here. There's not a whole lot of them. Clayton Whitmire. Well, Peter Renault's on here. Hopefully still on here. But Clayton Whitmire said he heard that he won an exclusive Alex Sturgeon body. Yes, you did. I saw him on Saturday, and I was like, "Hey, did you know you won my body in the drawing we did?" And he's like, "No way." So I actually have to take it tonight because it's sitting here in the studio.
Yeah,
got the hiccups.
I got to make sure I remember my short course buggy body.
Yeah, for Jason.
Yeah.
Daniel Bender was supposed to ask you a question on here, and I don't see it. So, Steve RC's on here. He said the last 7 years, the weeks right after, before or after Martin Luther King Day is usually the coldest of the year. It looks like next Monday the cold starts. I didn't really see that in the forecast. I saw like a 2 week out forecast. It looks like it's supposed to be like 40s the whole way.
Yeah, I hope it's not cold.
Yeah. Me either. I feel like we're gonna have an early spring this year. It just doesn't. It hasn't gotten that weird vibe.
But we haven't had that bitter cold yet.
We did in December. Don't you remember?
I mean, like -50 wind chill.
Oh well, we haven't had that in a long time. Period.
Yeah, I remember when I was in college or trade school or whatever. I was walking into school and it was like -50 wind chill.
Yeah.
And like the next week it was 50 degrees.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it's like 100 degrees warmer out here.
Yeah. Well, today it was only 48 degrees, but it felt way warmer than it probably was. That's why I'm wearing shorts.
Yeah.
If it's 50 degrees, I'm wearing these. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I got to work. The other thing too, if I have to work inside all day like I do, I'll wear shorts even if it's colder than that because I'm going to be inside.
Yeah.
And I hate wearing pants. Hate it. Hate it. Hate it. Hate it. I used to wear jeans all the time. I don't know how I did that. I hate jeans. They're super uncomfortable. And they always like
Yeah.
my butt always sags now. Like they always sag off my butt because it's like the older I get, the less butt I have and the more gut I have. Anyways, there's something in. This almost looks like German, so I'm just gonna pass right by it.
Oh.
I don't know what that is, but Low Nexery. That's a cool name on here. Okay, Steve RC. When is the triple scoop? That's a good question because I was hoping to have a flyer by now. But the triple scoop is our 3 club races that we have left on the carpet. February 13th, March. Where's my calendar at? February 13th, March 6th, and March 20th. That's our triple scoop. It's a 3-race point series. It'll be really quick and easy.
Nice.
But we don't really have that much club racing after these next 4 weeks because of just the way that the late winter schedule always works out. We always have the TCS race, the Techno Series finals, the carpet crash in, and there was a big dirt oval race in there. I'm not sure what we're doing this year for the dirt oval. Jason and I haven't really talked about that yet.
Yeah.
But I was supposed to have a flyer. I still probably will have a flyer. It's just Mike Garrison's kind of getting back to work at Boom RC after being in the hospital for almost a month and a half. So I'm not really gonna pressure him. Peter Renault wants to know: does Will post his B74 setup sheets anywhere? Because he doesn't know what a puck system is.
Oh. Well, just go to, what is it? MODS speed or MOD speedshop.com. That's where you can see what a puck system is.
It's basically isn't it like a lighter, first off it's lightweight components, but doesn't it also create less drag on your outdrives? Isn't that the point?
Yeah, it does. Like, it's supposed to just be less rotating mass and that, like, so like your drivetrain on your 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive buggy is always the best when it's new. That's my opinion. I like, once it gets broke in, it makes your, it's kind of like when you get like that kind of broken in, or you want it a little broken in, but once it gets like dented in or, like grooved in, it's like that drivetrain becomes like a mechanical sway bar. So when you pull throttle, it's going to instantly go to that grooved up spot. So it's going to make your car like point and shoot style driving. Like, you're going to pull throttle and it's just going to go straight, or it's going to feel straighter and it's going to be harder to turn. But if you run a newer drivetrain, or that's pretty much your diff or your outdrives and your axles, it's going to feel a lot more nimble, or easier to kind of put it where you want it. It's not going to have that lock-up feeling. So, like on a track with really high grip, you could probably it's just kind of one of those preference things, really. Like on high grip, you kind of want a drivetrain that's a little bit more locked in, or broken in. But on low grip, you'd want one that's going to let the suspension completely sag and
right.
Do its thing. But yeah, it kind of becomes like a mechanical sway bar. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's actually, that is the best way I've ever heard that described, because that, to me, that makes total absolute sense now.
Yeah. And that's like, there was this time that we had a track that had a run up to it, like a tabletop, and then you turned on the tabletop and jumped off of it. My car would not, I was losing like 0.3 a lap on that thing to you. And my car would not turn like yours. And like, I kept going through it, and that's when it was like one of those aha moments.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I changed I put a new diff in my car, new axles, and just the whole drivetrain. And my car was instantly 0.5 faster.
Yeah.
Because I did that. So, like, before a big race, I'll put a new diff, new axles, new everything in the rear end on my cars, or on my 2-wheel. 4-wheel drive, I usually just change the whole thing. On 4-wheel, that is. On 4-wheel, I'll change front and rear. Not the whole diff, but I'll do the outdrives. I'll do new axles, and because you want that stuff to be really new. Yeah. I feel like, and that's just something that I found my car always works better with, or more consistent with, new components. Like, and I mean, we're talking like, if I'm in a club race for 2 months, and then I'll have a big race that's coming up, I'll put a new drivetrain in my car before the big race. But if that makes sense.
No, total sense.
But if you want to make your car feel like brand new again, it's the drivetrain that makes the biggest difference to me. Yep. That shock seal, doing your shock seals and then replacing your drivetrain components, and and to check your bearings. I check my bearings a lot more than I used to. Just because like a bad bearing can cause so many issues.
Oh yeah.
So I'm always like every week, I'll just check my bearings and clean my drivetrain. I've even been known to, like, before a main, or like before my, like at the summer series before the A main, I just take the rear end of my car apart and clean all the CVDs, or I'd clean both of my CVDs on my 2-wheel. And it just like it just feels better to me.
Yeah. That's the difference between you and me.
Yeah.
I don't do all that.
Yeah.
I used to have a ritual before every big race of going through my car and checking the bearings and replacing out drives and all that stuff, but not as much anymore.
Yeah.
I need to learn from you. So there you go. What's a good 17.5 motor? This is a very subjective one. I think they're all good. I think every motor has its own sweet spot.
Yeah.
Obviously, a motor that you can adjust the timing, and a brand that's known to be, what's the word? Not just good, but like, reliable. There you go. A brand that's known to be reliable. I think, I don't know. That's what I would say. It's hard to tell people because you have your own personal preferences for brands. So I could say, well, I mean, Trinity clearly is known for having fast stock motors, but so is Motive, so is Shore Speed, so is R1,
Yeah.
Hobby Wing.
Because I run Reedy Electronics, but I only race modified, and if I, and the Reedy motors are really good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, like, we're going to race stock, you can pick whatever stock motor you want to run. I'd pick Motive.
Yeah.
I like the company. I like what they do. I like what they're all about. So
yeah,
that would be the only reason why, is just because Palomew is cool and he's old school. So
yeah.
And that's the only reason why I would pick that, just because I like that guy. So
yeah. Very subjective question, but I if you stick to any of the major brands, they all have a sweet spot. You just got to find it with gearing and timing adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, there are some that are truly faster than others. So, but I would never run like a, Gadzooks Amazon.com stock motor. Just,
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Whoa. Mad Thunder has another subjective question. 2-wheel drive buggies, if there was a shootout, what's the best for the money, and what's the worst? I don't really know what the worst would be if we're talking 2-wheel drive buggies. I don't want to like defame a company.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Well, I mean, the worst buggy is going to be one of those,
unless it's Exceed RC.
Yeah.
Exceed RC is like the Rosie O'Donnell of the RC world. He just
That's pretty funny.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, probably there isn't any, like, of the top, what I would consider 3 brands of 2-wheel buggies. You're not going to get one that's bad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think.
Even the top, let's lump in obviously Associated and Losi, X-Ray, and say Yokomo. I'd say those four, you can't go wrong. Obviously, some of them cost more than the others. And then I think in America, right? This is just the U.S. tracks that are super cross-like and big and goofy, and a lot of times, you know, the grip is either super high or super low. Then I think the next step would be like Serpent, Schumacher. Who's next? Who's next in that one? Kyosho.
Yeah.
Right now, Kyosho's car is pretty old.
Yeah.
There's not really any new refinements on that thing. That's why you don't see too many of them anymore.
Right.
You know, but like Schumacher's really good on carpet, which means that it probably does translate to a really super high grippy track too, if it's smooth enough.
And you know, the thing is like if you're club racing locally, and let's say everybody there is running, you know, car A, but we'll say B, car B, and then the most popular car in the country is car A, but you're racing in a pocket somewhere that car B is popular and the hobby shop supports it well, and they have a lot of parts for it. Yeah. And, you know, there's a team guy there that is helping people with it.
Right.
You're going to have a good experience. So, like, to me, the worst car is one that's not supported.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like, if I had to, like, that would, in my opinion, that would be the worst car, is one that no help, no support, no guy there working on stuff, helping you, figuring stuff out. Not very popular. That would be the worst car. The best car would be. That's kind
of a reason why we, on the racing side of things at the Hobbyplex too, we kind of made a conscious decision to just stick with Losi and Associated when it comes to the 10 scale. Two-wheel drive. You know, we just made that because a couple years ago we got burned. We got in on these other cars, and there wasn't really any support really, and the only people locally that drove them were sponsored guys, so they weren't buying them. You know,
right?
So I don't know. I still think as a privateer driver on that side of things, I still think you can't go wrong. As long as you pick Losi or Associated, you're going to be fine. The other guys are, I'm sure they're great, and I'm sure they're awesome cars. I mean, X-Ray is going to be super high quality. Yokomo, I've owned one. It's great. You know, even something like a Kyosho or something. But as far as here in America, with the majority of the actual parts availability and support, you just can't go wrong with the two. Then from there, it's a toss-up. You know?
Right.
They definitely fit two different driver styles. So. Okay, there's a couple more, and then let's see. I don't think there's been any. Okay, and then there's a couple here from Nick Sneathen down at the bottom. But we're gonna do one more of these, and then we're gonna skip over a few of them. RTR versus a kit. What do you prefer to bash if you do bash? So, I still like to build my stuff, but if I know that I'm gonna beat the crap out of a car, then give me ready to run.
Yeah.
You know,
if I was gonna, if I was gonna buy a truck right now to go run up and down my front yard and stuff, I would probably go with a RTR.
Yeah, just like that Outcast 6S. You know, I still have it. It's fixed. It's ready to go. But I'm very glad I didn't have to build that.
Yeah, and, I mean, you know, if you're beating up your truck outside, I mean, you don't want to have to build it.
Yeah,
you know, I wouldn't want to.
Just fix it when it breaks and you're good.
Yeah.
Have either of us ever raced slot cars?
I tried it one time when we used to have that slot car track at the Plex.
Yep, same here.
I can't do it.
Yeah. The idea of buying motors every single time you run a car struck me as bizarre. Like those guys would buy because they have heats just like we do, and they would put a new motor in their car every single time, and it was like a $20 motor.
Really?
And I'm like, nope,
yeah.
That is not for me. Not for that. No way.
I just wasn't very good at it right away, so I didn't want to do it.
It was interesting, though, being in the zone. There was one time, I remember it specifically, where I was doing really good, and I was super focused and locked in on the corners and how fast we were going. I was running those little the little metal pan cars with the big wing on it or whatever, and they were going crazy fast, but it didn't seem fast. And it was a moment, like 30 seconds worth, and then I crashed and then I lost it. But
yeah,
no, thank you. Maybe on a bigger track, it would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely popular.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, probably not as popular as it used to be.
I don't know if it's, I wouldn't say that.
Well, I mean, how many slot car tracks did you sell at Christmas time?
Well, but that's different, though.
That's different. I know it's different, but
that's
but I mean, that's like your
some
Traxxas
dad.
Raider
That's
run.
some dad trying to compensate. Getting those. It's not the same as the 24 scale where you got to have a permanent big, king track or something like that.
Yeah. But like if you say slot cars to somebody, they know what you're talking about.
That's true.
They're going to think Tyco.
Yeah.
HO scale.
Exactly.
But anyway.
Okay. Racer Oz, this is Ken. If we submit names of our racers in a traveling group, can we reserve pits for the J Concepts race? So here's the next step in the J Concepts race, and I was going to announce this after we do the purge. But basically, we're going to have assigned seating for this thing. Otherwise, it's going to get out of hand. And so I'm going to have assigned seating. So Beach RC, when I went down there, you had to pay $10, and then you got your spot that you had like a request list or whatever. I'm going to try it a little bit differently. I'm going to contact people, but I'm going to try to just put it together myself. And if people have a problem with where they're sitting, we can change, I guess. But my biggest fear is that if I left it open, like first come, first serve, what would happen is somebody that didn't sign up online would come and take up a pit spot. And then all of a sudden we'd be out of pit space. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like when we had the Techno Series signups. I reserved seating for everybody that was signed up so that if anybody came in that wasn't signed up online, I could go, well, you didn't sign up online, so you don't have a place. Yeah. Sorry about your luck. It's just kind of the way it's going to have to be. Is that cruel?
I don't know. It's your show.
But yeah, so that'll be the next step after the purge. So the purge is the 18th. Once I have a real list of names, number, then we have 3 weeks to get seating arrangements all figured out. So yes, there will be reserve seating. There's a couple more here. This is Jake Heidbreder. He moved away. He moved away from us. He lives over there in Eastern Iowa now. Does anyone local race HB cars in 1/10, or was I the last one before I moved? Plus, I will come back to race once they let us Hot Bodies team guys get a hold of any two-wheel drive buggy. Nope. I don't know anybody running those Hot Bodies cars. I haven't even seen one for a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen one in a while.
I think the last person I saw that had one was Steve Miner.
Yeah. I haven't seen one in a long time.
Yeah. They're cool looking still to this day.
Yeah.
We used to carry them. And we used to have parts for them. But
yeah.
Yep. Rob the Mouth Millen was on here saying, "What's up, everybody?"
Hey, what's up, man?
Nick Sneathen, when is HT going to get spare parts for the AE 1/8 buggy? Well, it depends. I mean, all you got to do is ask us for what you want. But here's the reason why we don't have any parts for them, because right now nobody at the Plex is running, that I know of, an associated 8-scale buggy, I guess, except you now. We don't really have any other associated 8-scale guys.
Yeah, that race weekly or whatever.
I know we carry arms and hubs and some shock parts. I know that for sure because we sold some over the weekend and I put them out on Wednesday. But we don't have like the full arrangement that we would for, say, the two-wheel drive stuff, just because the 8-scale is just not near as popular. But let us know and we'll order what you need. That's pretty easy. Eric Wunschel wants to know plastic pucks on the dog bones.
Yeah, they're like these orange inserts. I don't know if I can hold them to the camera.
Yep, the orange ones.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
like the orange pieces in there. Those ride in that.
Remember
that
Adam
drive.
Remember Adam Kohler?
Yeah.
He always used to run pucks on his stuff, and his cars were always squeaky and loud
Oh, really?
because of the pucks.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's gonna
Well,
bother you.
we'll see how it works. I got 3 weeks here to test it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we already kind of answered this one from Mad Thunder 2 about the HP racing buggy. And then Hidebreder said Adam's car sounded like a bee. That's pretty funny.
Maybe you didn't grease them, or maybe they're all worn out.
Nick Sneathen, would you run, has another one, would you run an ESC and servo weights in a stadium truck for dirt? And if so, how much?
Me?
Would we? Did we run metal, the
For stadium truck?
servo weights? Isn't that a carpet thing?
Well, I mean, I ran the aluminum electronics weight.
Did you?
You'd probably want to run the aluminum servo weight in that car just to put some front weight up.
I was going to say,
up
on
in
a
there.
truck, isn't it more important? It is important to have the front end stay down.
Yeah, that, and I'd put the aluminum bulkhead on it too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I feel like that just balances the car out better.
Yeah.
Because I ran that on my T6.1 or whatever. Yeah, 1. I think that's the one I had.
I think Daniel Bender had the fender bender had a question about plastic gears in a B74, and that's what you were talking about earlier. You're gonna try to get those plastic gears.
No. I don't want to talk about that, but I run the plastic diff gears on the inside of the, like the diff itself.
spider gears?
I run those plastic.
Right.
Yeah, the spider gears or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he already asked me about that.
Okay. Good. All right.
I mean, like, he already texted me about that.
Yeah, he texted me about that, and I was like, "You need to ask Will."
Yeah.
that was my fault. I had him text you.
No, it's okay.
We just got a super chat from Eric Wunschel.
Woo.
A $10 super chat.
Thanks, dude.
Bribe money to get into the J Concepts race. Love the show. Love the show. Thanks, guys. So here's the good news for Eric and Daryl Wallen. I've got it. So I've been knocking people out as people have canceled, and I think they're now 3rd and 4th on the list.
Oh, nice.
So chances are they'll probably be good to go. I'm going to guess, because I'm telling you, there's a couple of people on the list that aren't paid that I'm like, they're not. I bet you they don't even pay and come. So
Yeah.
right now, I do remember seeing them. I think they're 3rd and 4th now that I've filled in a few more spots. So hang in there. Hang in there. And then we'll do one more, and then we got to get out of here because it's running late. But Ken Peterson, place your bets. Gold, silver, aquas, slicks at the J Concepts race. What's your guess?
I doubt Aqua.
Yeah.
I doubt it. They've never worked yet for us at our track.
Right.
But I mean, you never know.
You never know.
but
Maybe in
I
four-wheel.
doubt it.
Maybe in four-wheel drive.
I doubt it. I just don't see them working. Anytime I've seen somebody try to use them, they've never just been the end all beat all, or they've never been better. So, or as good as like gold or silver.
I feel like a majority of the people will be on silver.
Really?
I think so. I'm running
we're gonna be
golds.
on golds.
I'm on golds. I'm dedicated to gold the whole way. Just because I know how to break them in, I know how to get my car to work with them, so I'm sticking with what I know.
Yeah. I still think golds. If it goes to slicks, it'll be silver.
Right.
But I think it'll be gold.
I think our track.
I really do.
I feel like our track builds up too much dust to have an actual slick track.
Yeah. I mean, there's been like 1 or 2 times that the silvers have been just the absolute best. I mean, way better than gold compound. And I just think that it's going to take golds. I really do.
Yeah.
It usually does. But then there's sometimes that you'll have like I remember I'd watch cars in the heat races or the main before mine, and this is the summer. This is also late in the summer and early in the summer. And I'd watch a car, I'd be like, I bet they're on silvers. And I'd go over and like look at their stuff, and they'd be on silvers.
Yeah.
And it just didn't look as good as the cars that I knew were on golds.
Yeah.
But I know Tom always runs silvers, so
Yep.
we'll see. I mean, I think that he could drive anything. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it does. Maybe he just drives around it and doesn't notice. Who knows?
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, I have both.
Me too.
But it's hard. It's hard to say. I mean, I don't really know. But if I had to bet, like since we're placing bets here, I'd probably be willing to bet gold would be the better compound.
After today's email, I'm hopeful that we'll have plenty of both for sale.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, okay, one more. I lied. One more. We're gonna have one more. Nick Sneathen noticed that at the Ohio race they were gluing the sidewalls. Yeah, I glued the front sidewalls, the sidewalls in my car all summer, even with tread on them.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I started doing it, and then Alex started doing it.
Well, clearly,
it's how it worked. It's
Yeah.
how it happens.
I'm a copycat.
Alex is like, man, you're beating me. What do you run it? Oh, that? Okay.
Okay. All right, that's really it though. I appreciate you guys with all the chat. I wanted to get through as quickly as we could today so I could get to some questions. Thanks to all the Techno racers for having the big weekend that we did. Thanks to of course our sponsor, Pivot Lending Group. Make sure that you guys, if you're in a what's that called? If you're in the
Market?
Yeah, there you go. If you're in the market for a home loan or refinance, make sure you get a hold of them. That's how we're able to bring this show to you weekly. PivotLendingGroup.com. Ask for Don Zoller or give it a shot and ask for Aiden Olson's dad, who will more than likely direct you to Don Zoller. But either way, we think that's funny. And it's at PivotLending.com. $500 lender credit or 0.125 off your interest rate if you go through with a home loan or refinance. So,
yeah.
And of course, Weberized. This show is, we could say, produced by Weberized.com. If you want to start a podcast, they could even do it remotely. So get a hold of Weberized.com and give my sister and brother-in-law some more business. And that way we can keep having this super rad studio with all these cameras and stuff. So
Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah, there's that.
Yeah, you could have a podcast about anything.
Yeah.
1-star reviews on Google.
Yeah.
Like anything.
Yep. Okay. Anyways, we better go. So once again, thank you guys, and we'll be back next week.
Woo!
Or hopefully I will finish ahead of Will.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty rusty. You've been racing this whole time.
I have.
I haven't raced since November.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But I did good. I did good down there.
I know.
So I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
I'm hoping I do well. See you guys.
Bye.